first glance, you look at it, them look like commercial traffic, you know. But really, as we examined them and looked at them through our optical systems or hyperspectral optical systems, we could identify that they definitely weren't part of the mix.
Yeah, they were smaller. They had something that resembled navigation lights, but not in the same kind of configuration, the same kind of flash
Mm-hmm.
patterns or color patterns. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Do you think that they are actual manned aircraft or drones that someone is operating, or is it a mixture of the two?
we would think it would have been autonomous, or it would have been remotely operated.
Right. Right. Yeah. And as far as who's behind it, I couldn't tell you
Yeah,
that we
it
don't
was. It
know.
wasn't like we actually, we looked around the area. We didn't see anything looked like an operating van or maybe an operating RV that could have been used to operate from the ground. Uh, for as far as boats, we really couldn't identify any boat that might be operating it.
The staging area. Yeah.
So yeah, staging area. Yeah.
Why are no news crews from New Jersey or New York actually making a greater effort with their cameras and their millions of dollars to capture something?
Right.
I even saw a news report from New Jersey recently where the reporter, and it was I think an NBC affiliate, she showed the footage of a drone on her camera. She said for some reason it couldn't be captured on the main news camera, but her cell phone was able to capture it.
Hmm. Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some big questions there, and it's so that's what puts it in the bizarre category. It's we should definitely have a better picture of what's going on and better
Right.
answers from both the media and even some of the authorities.
Right.
Do you think the authorities know more? Because they seem to be telling us, don't worry, just ignore these drones. There's no immediate
That's not.
threat
Yeah,
to
that's not.
these mysterious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's just it would just be speculation at this point as far as what they know and that and you know I mean it's something that I kind of suspect that they probably know a lot more than they're saying, but obviously most people know that something is going on. I mean it's the extent of the sightings, the sheer numbers that are coming in or that are being reported, and a lot of the stuff, we believe is occurring, off the mainland. This is a more of a shore kind of experience with these objects. It's something that's probably originates somewhere in the oceans, which is a strong possibility, and uh, they're being seen on the shores, mostly because you have, of course, population. You have high dense populations, but if we had more observers on the water, I would bet that there's more occurring over the water than there is over land.
Well, I do got to. Well, I mean, we've got to say this. I mean, the land sightings are actually growing,
Right.
and to comment back on what we were saying is those aren't answers. That's just not a threat. How would you know if it's a threat, even if it's not an immediate threat? Is it a long term threat? The fact is, what if it's surveilling? What are they doing up there in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
That has to be answered. I mean, that's not acceptable.
Right. Right.
Just not acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is it because they might originate in the water that the Navy seems to be a lot more open about this than the Air Force? Because we haven't really seen too many people from the Air Force come out. It's always Navy pilots, or we're seeing the videos
Right.
from Navy ships getting swarmed.
Yeah. The Air Force has been silent on it. Why, I don't know. You know, uh, of course, the Navy pilots, they're seeing this stuff on a regular basis, and we've had an opportunity to talk to some of them, and of course, they've shared the same experiences with the media as well. But it doesn't really give us answers to why this is happening. It's the fact that we're seeing it. I mean, I live locally near the research area that we're looking at right now, which is a barrier island, and I'm seeing this stuff over my residence. I mean, I'm recording this stuff. In several occasions I've seen it. I live near an airport, and I've seen them in the flight paths of commercial airports or commercial airliners. And in one particular case, I observed two objects that had a starburst, a reddish starburst appearance to it. That were as an airliner went by, they followed the airliner in fairly close proximity and did a complete loop, two of them, one after the other, and just disappeared. And I remember just sitting there and being awestruck at it. I said, I've never seen anything like that before. But it's the behavior was bizarre, and this is before we even started the research. What we've been seeing out there is the activity is strange. It's a strange activity. It's we've recorded objects that would fall from the sky, head down to the water. We've seen objects submersed under the water. We've even been exposed to something that during one of our investigations that we still can't wrap our heads around.
Is there a hot time for this, for these things to appear? And the other thing, I know you've seen some of them during the day, like that, like this one that you've shown here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But could they potentially be there during the day too, and we're just not seeing them as clear during the day?
Well, that's the thing with the sun. Depending where the sun is, it can actually occlude your view. Kind of, your eyes are more sensitive at night. If something's luminous, you can see it easier than something that might be very reflective and reflect the sun. It makes it more difficult to see during the day.
Some of these objects are just they're not putting off. They're not very luminous, I should say. That any ambient lighting, that seems to they give them mass that you could see. There's a reflective surface to some extent. But most of them are dark. They're dark objects. They're, you need low light infrared cameras in order to see them. And there are times when they become luminous, even luminous to a point where you see them in the visible light. But we've actually measured them, in the IR, in the deeper IR, in the short wave. Which is beyond any kind of near infrared camera system that is being used to look at them. I mean, it's the camera system that we have for the SWIRE, or the SWIR they call them. It's it's shortwave infrared, and that those cameras are relatively expensive. I mean, a camera that we use is in upward of about $14,000.
Based on the different types of objects that you're seeing, I know humans have very different types of vehicles, so it's hard to guess just based on that. But would you say they're all coming from the same thing, or could there be multiple explanations for these type of visitations?
Well, that's a good point. As we as humans, we make all kinds of car shapes and all for our own likes, our own configurations. So I mean, I guess we could also suggest that if this is another race, an intelligent race constructing these things, or it could be for the functionality. It could be for pure functionality. I don't know.
And as far as like the different movements, I mean, it could just be, as you mentioned, the same visitors or whatever doing it to for whatever purpose. It's not necessarily different visitors that travel in different types of vehicles, but there seems to be a lot of different types.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a valid possibility too. That's something we definitely everything's got to be looked at, and be probably, and we have to follow the data or where that leads.
Mm-hmm.
If these things are from other planets, could they possibly infect our planet with something from another planet or from space if they land here, or they come in our atmosphere with something that could cause some type of pandemic here?
Oh, potentially, yeah. I mean, if you have a planet that has developed life through microbes, a microbe that's very different from what's on Earth, and it's possible may have some pathogenic properties to it. So it's,
Yeah.
How safe are we? If there's no statement from Donald Trump, Elon Musk, even, or President Biden yet.
that's it's I don't know. That's strange to me. That there's emergency management organizations that would be that would be concerned about it. There's actually one person we know that works in emergency management, and he's kind of flabbergasted at the response, and it doesn't really understand it. So I don't understand a not a more alarmed media response or from the authorities. It's I don't know. This guy's it's really strange.
Right.
Interesting for the threat assessment, because I heard the Tennessee congressman the other day saying we should just make it open season on these drones
Oh, no,
flying
no.
around.
Good
Do
luck
you
with-
think that'd be a good idea?
I don't think so.
Yeah, good luck with that.
If somebody's aware of this stuff, if they know that this, hopefully you're thinking and they're not talking because it's not it produces no harm. But I mean, that we don't know. I mean, but the information, some basic information needs to be shared. If they're admitting that this stuff is real and and they can't explain it, then share some additional information, share some of the safety concerns, what we should be looking out for, and I mean, we all have family members and stuff like that. Of course, what happened to us, we're concerned about them. We're concerned about family. Is there some permanent biological change going on? I mean, I have some medical issues right now that I'm dealing with, and I'm certainly hoping it's not as a byproduct of this thing, that we encountered. It's neurological problems and stuff like that I'm dealing with right now.
I know
Right.
there was a congressional meeting with Arrow. I think it was
Yeah,
yesterday.
Friday, right?
Yeah.
Or,
You're probably right. But we haven't heard.
it was confidential though, right? And nothing came out of it. There was some talk of saying they were Chinese by some of the congressmen before, but they weren't going on record about it.
No.
And then there seemed to be nothing after, because we were expecting like something to come out, but I haven't seen one shred of news about what happened in there.
Right. It's like I said, so of course, with all the whistleblowers and so forth, it's obviously something's going on, and I mean, look, if it's a security concern, we certainly understand that, we get it, but there's no reason not to talk about at least the safety issues, the concerns that the public should have, or people doing research, investigating these things.
They blocked a medical helicopter from landing in New Jersey a couple days ago. So that was the first sign that, okay, maybe there is some direct concern related to this.
And that would be a big concern.
Right. And I think some of that stuff was addressed, with FOIA requests, as far as some of the health related and physical ills that people have faced with some of these objects. I know there was a Canadian event where a young kid, a young boy, had RF burns on his body, walking up to one of these objects supposedly in a wooded area, and maybe he got too close to a propulsion system that is being generated, or something along those lines. But if this is in fact the case, that again, the public needs to understand that, stay away from it. It's or whatnot. I mean, we need to have some warnings.
Well, Canada had a big case, the Falcon Lake incident, where there was medical.
Yeah, it was a radiation burn.
Yeah,